I'm going to show you a case that took place last year. I prepared it last year and I was going to share it, but I never did. This is this is Groff. Gerald Groff. He was a worker of Amazon. Was terminated for working for his religious conviction. He didn't want to work on Sunday, but they forced him to work. So he said, "I'm gonna quit," and he actually took them to court. What happened? He won the court. He was repaid $50,000 US dollars, breaking Supreme Court ruling in favor of Christian postal worker in unanimous religious freedom decision. The U.S. Supreme Court issued an unanimous ruling Thursday in favor of a Christian postal worker who says that he was targeted and disciplined by his employer for refusing to work on Sunday because of his religious belief. In its ruling in Groove versus DeJoy, written by Justice Samuel, the court said federal laws require an employer that denies an employee a religious accommodation that showed that the burden of the accommodation would result in substantial increase in the cost. Now, look at the second part. It says, at heart, in the case of the case was Gerald Groff, a former postal worker who is also an evangelical missionary. In 2019, Groff resigned from his post with the U.S. Postal Service. After years of allegedly being arrested, targeted, and disciplined for refusing to work Sundays so that he could abide by the third commandment to keep holy the Sabbath day. Is that the third commandment? No, it's the fourth commandment. Who changed it to the third commandment? That's the Catholics. Unknowingly, those whoever wrote, oh, by the way, this article was written by the Jesuits, the National Catholic Register. So they said he was trying to keep the third commandment, keeping the Sabbath holy. Now, this is what MSNBC had to say about the report.
This decision, as you just mentioned, was brought by an evangelical post office worker who wanted to rest and worship on Sundays and whose post office wouldn't accommodate him because of all the Amazon packages that they have to deliver. Now, that's no longer the case. Now, the employer has to accommodate the employee unless that would impose substantial costs on the business itself.
Again, Grove actually won the case. How did he win? How many people supported him?
It's unusual to get all 9 justices to vote unanimously, right? Rule unanimously.
It is. And, you know, the whole nature of most Supreme Court cases is such that there is some divisive issue or lower court split that necessitates resolution, and that usually doesn't lend itself toward unanimity. But here, one of the things that the justices were struck by was how many religious groups were in favor of clarifying this test and who basically came before the court as amicus.
There were many religious groups that came together in support of this man. Do you see? Again, there is a movement that is going on, Sunday agitation going on. And this person was given the religious freedom to worship. After seeing this, there were some people that actually said, thank God for America. We have laws that promote religious liberties, and there were some pastors that actually said we still have religious freedom. You see, these people were given religious freedom. I'm going to contrast with another case that the story goes a little bit different. Now, this is from the Christian Post. It talks about the Amazon delivery provider pays $50,000 for firing Christian employee who refused to work on Sunday. This is the same guy. Let's see the next article. It says, in 2019, 60-year-old Haitian immigrant Marie Jean Perry was awarded $21 million in punitive damages after being fired from a job as a dishwasher by the Conrad Hotel in Miami. What did she do? She said, I want to go do missionary work. I cannot work on Sunday. And she was rejected that. But when she took the case all the way to Supreme Court, she was awarded, she was given 21 million. Can you see that? And this is a Catholic woman, by the way. She was acknowledged for what she did. But what about Adventists? I'm going to present to you an Adventist. This is Gerald Patterson. The same, another article from NBC News. It says a court case in 2000. This is 2019. This woman won a case, got 21 million. But when an Adventist went to court in 2000, when it had a 5-4 conservative majority, declined to hear a similar case involving an employee at the Walgreens call center who, as a Seventh-day Adventist, requested that he not work on Saturday, which is a Christian denomination's day of rest. One of the Christian denominations' day of rest, they're saying. He's a Seventh-day Adventist, by the way. Well, let's see. Who is he?
My name is Daryl Patterson, and I'm a Seventh-day Adventist. I'm a father of 3. I enjoy working with people and serving others, and I am faithful to my God.
What was he trying to do? To be faithful to God, just like those other cases that was decided. But what happened to his case? His case was declined. Now, why? Why was he declined? Or maybe he converted later when he was in Walgreens, when he was already there working in Walgreens. No, he was an Adventist before he went and worked there. In his interview, he explained everything. Let him say for himself.
I was employed with Walgreens from 2005 until 2011. Walgreens knew from the very beginning that I was a practicing Seventh-day Adventist. During the interviewing process, I specifically asked if it would be a problem. And I explained that I didn't work Friday sunset to Saturday sunsets. And they advised me that it wouldn't, and I was hired.
Wow, a similar case. He even told them before the interview everything was clear, but even then, after 6 years of working, he was still rejected religious freedom.
Our Constitution and civil rights laws protect Sabbath worshipers from discrimination. For 6 years, Daryl was able to do his job and observe Sabbath every Saturday. But then Walgreens fired Daryl for refusing to break his Sabbath to run a 30-minute training session on a Saturday. But other employees kept their jobs after missing similar shifts for non-religious reasons.
The events leading up to that day, the suspension, and then eventually the termination, coming home and having to say, honey, I'm home, and by the way, I just lost my job.
Pause. Now, there were other cases of employees who missed out on the job for non-religious reason, but they still kept the job. Can you imagine that? Can you believe that? But this is where the trend is going. A less importance on the 7th-day Sabbath and more emphasis on Sunday. Wow. The pain. This is not only Daryl. This is going to be our experience in the near future. In the near future, we're going to be experiencing that. Everyone is Adventist.
This experience was much more painful. It goes to my soul. It's about my relationship with my God.
After Daryl was fired, he went to court to defend his rights and stop Walgreens' religious discrimination. His case is now being appealed to the Supreme Court.
There are others who find themselves faced with the Sabbath accommodation question as well. There are those that came before me, those that will come after me. And so for that reason, this really wasn't entirely about Daryl. It was about all of those who worship on Sabbath, who have a strong religious conviction about a holy day.
Friends, if you are blessed by it and want to see the whole video, click here. If you want to see another video similar to that, click here. And do not forget to subscribe and click the notification bell to stay updated. God bless you all.